Let's fucking go. Number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, y'all. We are number 1. The playoffs, the Eastern Conference playoffs run through Cleveland. Let's fucking go. Welcome to another edition of the It's Cavalier podcast. It's your boy Mac. As you guys know, our Cleveland Cavaliers took on the Chicago Bulls for far more than a simple opportunity to sweep. They had a couple of different opportunities, multiple things. First and foremost, to lock up that number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, something that they have not done since the 2015-2016 season, the same season in which they won the NBA title. But again, that wasn't the only thing up for grabs. Tonight was an opportunity to get that sweep. Sweep number 16 on the season, ladies and gentlemen. The Cleveland Cavaliers have swept 16 teams. These are the teams: the Mavericks, the Nuggets, the Warriors, the Wizards, the Lakers, the T-Wolves, the Pels, the Raptors, the Hornets, the Bucks, the Nets, the Grizz, the Jazz, the Blazers, the Spurs, and now the Chicago Bulls. Let's fucking go. That, my friends, was a fun performance. And I don't have to tell you guys how important tonight was for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Home court advantage throughout the Eastern Conference playoffs can be a very, very impactful thing. The fans often give a boost that just cannot be quantified. Just can't. And here's your tidbit of Cavs history for tonight. The last time the Cavs clinched the number 1 seed, it came against the Atlanta Hawks on April 11th, 2016. Conversely, Atlanta is one of the teams, if I'm not mistaken, that Cleveland could face. We'll see come round 1. But back in 2016, on April 11th, that came in a game that saw LeBron James and Kyrie Irving combined for 69 total points. Kevin Love put up a double-double, and Matthew Dellavedova contributed 10 points off the bench, and it set the tone for things to come. A title in glorious fashion. Now, I'm not here to tell you that this year's postseason will end in the Cleveland Cavaliers hosting the Larry O'Brien Trophy. But what I am here to tell you, and what I am here to say, is that this was going to go a great ways in determining where that path would begin. And let's keep it above. Chicago, they were on track to take this L, right? Chicago was resting so many of the regulars. So this would have been a flat-out catastrophic failure on Cleveland's part to not oblige them, and what felt like a conceded victory heading into this one. So right off the bat, let's get a few things straight, a few particulars. Tonight marked Donovan Mitchell's 8th absence of the season. It marked Isaac Okoro's 22nd start of the year. And before you Google it, the Cavs entered tonight 18-3 in games that Okoro gets the nod. Make that 19-3, as your Cleveland Cavaliers are now the number 1 seed. They are the number 1 seed in the East. That's right. They locked it up and may now rest the regulars if they choose to do so. Man, oh man. Man, oh man. Just a quick aside, the Cavs entered tonight just 2 games back of OKC, who are taking on the Los Angeles Lakers as we speak, if I'm not mistaken. They played tonight, and right now, if you're looking at the scoreboard, OKC is up 80-72. What a fucking game that is shaping up to be. 72 points by LA, 80 points by OKC through 2 quarters. So we'll have to see what's going on with that one. That could go a long way in determining what the Cavaliers choose to do down the stretch in these final 3 games. The Cavaliers, again, they enter tonight 2 games back of OKC for the number 1 seed overall in the NBA, not just the East. They have 4 games left, including tonight, and it's still technically possible to catch them, but I'm not sure the Cavs will want to risk possible injury just for the shot at number 1 overall. But again, home court advantage through the playoffs, not just the East, does have a nice little ring to it. We'll have to see. But again, tonight was a fun one. We saw a number of things. For starters, there was an effort made to feed Evan Mobley the ball, and tonight he made good on those added touches. And the best part, the young fella was drilling triples left and right. Tonight actually marked the 14th game of his career in which he drilled 3 or more three-pointers in a singular game. And all but one of those have come this very season under Kenny Atkinson. Dude is a floor spacer. Teams will learn that they got to respect him sooner or later. And I already feel like they're starting to realize it. And for what it's worth, he did enter tonight with 219 total attempts from distance. 16 of those have been considered tightly defended in NBA terms. That is more than his first 3 seasons combined. And I know that may not sound like much, but it's progress. And after tonight, he has officially knocked down 84 total triples on the season, and doing so on a pretty efficient clip, converting on around 38% of them. Bottom line, opponents are very likely to begin sending a defender his way and or closing out at the very least. This is precisely what needed to happen in order to make the fit between Mobley and Jarrett Allen work, as well as open the floor for our numerous drivers, whether that be Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell or Jerome or DeAndre Hunter, you name it. A lot of players on this roster are capable of driving that basketball, and it needed to happen for spacing. Cleveland obviously had a decided advantage in the front court tonight, and I feel like they absolutely took advantage of it. In the front court duo of Mobley and Allen, we're not the only players to go out there and eat tonight. Jerome was flat out phenomenal as he drilled 6 of his first 7 shots, including all 3 from three-point range. And honestly, I do not even know how this man is not considered more of a threat for six-man unit. And it seems like a foregone conclusion that Peyton Pritchard of the Boston Celtics will get it at this point. And I'll say this, Jerome wins in any other year. He wins in any other year, man. He's been that spectacular this season, and he's done so in far less minutes than many of the other candidates, including DeAndre Hunter. Pritchard, for instance, is playing 28.2 minutes per game this season. That is a lot of minutes for a reserve, if you really think about it. Ty is playing nearly 10 fewer minutes, guys. Seriously. He entered tonight playing 19.8 per contest this season and is averaging, or at least he came in averaging 12.3 points per game, 2.5 rebounds, 3.3 assists, and 1.1 steal while shooting 51.3% from the field, including a very good 42.8% from three-point range. And he's also knocking down about 87% of his freebies and was part of the elusive 50-40-90 club for a bit of time there. I really thought he was going to get it. He won't, but I thought he was going to get it. He's also, if I'm not mistaken, leading the NBA in scoring in players who average 20 minutes or less. Just phenomenal stuff out of that guy. And the Cavs got a number of other great performances. Let's talk about Darius Garland. Darius Garland, ladies and gentlemen, appears to be rolling again. After missing his first couple of shots, he drilled 4 triples in a span of about 4 minutes in game time. And it was phenomenal. He scored 14 of his points tonight in that second quarter. That was just, man, it was just a sight to see tonight. A phenomenal performance from Darius Garland, who would finish with 28 total points. Again, he scored 14 of those. So half of those in the second quarter, going 10 of 17 in the process, including 6 of 10 from three-point distance. So 6 huge triples from Darius, a guy who, frankly, we were a little bit worried about from an efficiency standpoint. It wasn't looking too good for DG as of late, but tonight it's a good way. It was a good way to get back into it, especially without Donovan Mitchell out there, And to that point, this is the 8th game, again, that Donovan has missed. And in those 8 games, these are Darius's averages. 26 points, and this is tonight. This includes tonight. 26 points, 3.3 rebounds, 7.9 assists, 48.3% from the field. So very efficient, including 41% from three-point distance, 92.9% from the charity stripe. And he's done so in about 33.1 minutes per game. Darius Garland has been phenomenal in games where Donovan Mitchell sits. And no, this is not a talking point. Yes, the Cavaliers are a perfect 8-0 after tonight without Donovan Mitchell in the season. Does that mean that Darius is better off without Donovan? Hell no. But it does mean that when he does get those additional opportunities, when he is able to operate as the lead guard, he rolls with it, man. He knows how to roll with that. This is obviously a good performance from Darius, and good to see him get back into his efficient all-star level play. And it was a big reason why, honestly, many people prior to this slump that he was having felt that Darius could end up on an all NBA team. And I won't rule that out. It's still technically possible, but I think the slump probably hurt his chances. But I'll tell you what, without Donovan Mitchell on the floor, he has been very, very good this season in those 8 games. And so credit where credit is due to Darius Garland. Show him a lot of love tonight. And I mean, I couldn't be any prouder, couldn't be any happier of him, because people be piling on this guy whenever he has a stretch of games that is not viewed in a good light. And obviously, he isn't helping himself as of late, but tonight was a step in the right direction. It was just so damn good to see him get back to his elite ways. The confidence was high and the shot making was elite. You could see the swagger in just the overall appearance on the court. He was also making a ton of plays out there for his teammates, which led to the ball movement being really, really stellar. And he picked up right where he left off in that third quarter, scoring the Cavs' first 4 points in that second half for Cleveland. And frankly, the Cavs were picking Chicago apart up until about midway through the third quarter, in which, I shit you not, Chicago went on a 21-2 run to close the gap. If you did not watch this game, go back and watch that third quarter, because, man, it was a stressful one. It was certainly a stressful one as they closed that gap and whittled the Cavs lead down to 8. Just 8 points after being up by 27. So the score was 87-79 overall. But it was time for Cleveland to lock back in, and man, that's exactly what they did. Sam Mail drilled a 3 to put the lead back into double figures. And I gotta admit, I was getting a little antsy. It was a little antsy. I ain't gonna lie. The Cavs have done this whole rigmarole before, enough times this season to see the pattern emerge. Go up big, let the opponent get back into it and have to fight to close it out after putting themselves into a position that they never should have put themselves into in the first place. Ty Jerome, again, he said enough was enough and drew an and one opportunity to put the Cavs up 12. Sam would kick off another really fun sequence, although he could finish at the rim or knock down a triple. Evan Mobley did pick up the slack and jammed it home. The Cavs would close the third up 98-85, so back up 13. But again, that was pretty crazy considering they ended the first half up 27. But this is the NBA, and Chicago would not lay down, and I get it. I totally get it. Javon Carter drilled a 3 to open the fourth to cut it back to 10. Chicago just would not give up at that point. It was inspiring. Credit where it's due. Midas Bazilis and the Bulls played their asses off at points of this game. They had no opportunity from a talent standpoint. They should not have won this game, and they did not, but they played their asses off. And keep in mind that this is a team that Cleveland could end up facing in round 1. They are a potential opponent if things shake out a certain way. And time will tell on that front. But that said, after cutting the lead back to 10, the Cavs would once more assert their dominance and build that lead back up. And it was just filled with a ton of great possessions, a ton of great sequences, a lot, maybe too many to really point out. You got Mobley blocking shots. You got DG hitting more threes, some excellent defense all the way around, even more amazing offense. And it was a good way to clinch it. We got Chuma Okeke's Cleveland Cavaliers debut, and he scored his first bucket rather, in wine and gold, putting up 2 points in about 3 minutes and 25 seconds of action. You got Emoni Bates out there drilling a triple. You got some Jalen Tyson and Luke Travers action. You got everybody, man. The only player that suited up that did not play tonight was Tristan Thompson. And you know what? I'm not mad at what I saw tonight. I'm not mad, man. This is a great way to clinch that number 1 seed, and I get it. The Bulls, they had no chance in this one, but they played. This is the NBA, and time has shown that if you do not take your opponent seriously, no matter who is out there, that they will beat you. It can come back to bite you in the tail side if you do not take your opponent seriously. And the Cavaliers, despite that 21-2 run in the third quarter, they closed it out. They closed it out. And that's exactly what you want to see. The first time this team has been the number one seed since the title season of 2015-16. And again, I'm not here to say that that is how this season will end. I hope so. But this went a long way in determining the path forward for this Cavs team. And it starts with the first round, right? Now, pending what happens with OKC in these last three games, and they're in a tight one right now with LA. So they could very well lose that game, which would put them just one game ahead of Cleveland for the number one overall seed in the NBA, which would give them home court advantage throughout the entirety of the playoffs. But I question whether or not Kenny would want to risk potential injury all just to get home court advantage in the finals, right? And to make it to the finals, you got to make it through round 1, 2, and 3. So I don't know if it'd be worth it to push, but I'm satisfied with what we got, man. 63 wins on the season, remains the third season in franchise history that they've won more than 60 games. They still have the potential to finish 66-16, so they could tie the franchise record in wins. I'm kind of bummed out that they weren't able to get the record in that regard, but I'll take this. This is just a phenomenal season. And like I've been saying, regardless of how you feel the regular season should be viewed, the one thing that we need to start doing is appreciating the fucking journey to get here. How many times do you get to see your favorite team, a small market team at that, clinch the number one seed? It does not happen that often. Again, the last time this happened was basically 9-10 years ago. It does not come around too often. So enjoy the journey. Enjoy the building blocks to success. Enjoy what you are seeing. Enjoy the fact that these guys have went through the grind of an entire season after having so many questions levied upon them in the offseason. Can Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley coexist? Can Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland work at the highest level? Is coaching the issue? Is the bench solved? Do the Cavaliers have enough to compete with Boston? I think you're seeing these things play out, man. Enjoy it. Enjoy what you are seeing. That is all I'm going to say in regards to that. Just focus on the journey instead of the end results all the time. This has been a fun season, man. It's been a really, really fun season. You saw a lot of the culmination of what the Cavaliers have worked on throughout these last 4 years, this rebuild, right? Starting, obviously, Sexton kicked things off. You get DG, you get Isaac Okoro, you get Evan Mobley. 3 of those pieces are still around in Darius, Evan, and Mobley. And they're all 3 key pieces in the rotation. You've seen them play key roles throughout this entire time. And they could be here to bring Cleveland just this second franchise title, man. Enjoy it. Enjoy it, because this has been a really good season, a really good run, and a beautifully executed rebuild by Kobe Altman. Kobe Altman deserves a ton of praise. Yes, I know there's still a legitimate hole, a backup big. I think that'll be solved in the offseason. But I'll tell you this, he has fielded a championship-level roster, and that man deserves a ton of credit, because at the end of last season, people were ready to ship his ass off to Siberia, along with JB Bickerstaff, who conversely is having a very good season with the Detroit Pistons, right? If I'm not mistaken, JB has led the Pistons to the fifth biggest or largest win improvement in NBA history. 5th or 6th biggest. 29 wins, I think. 29 win improvement on the prior season. And that could technically extend. You don't see it happen all the time. So credit to JB over there. But I'm happy with what we got over here in Giddy Atkinson, who's, we question at times from a rotational standpoint, but I have little to complain about when it comes to Kenny Atkinson, because all season long, this man is constantly pulling levers, making sure he's got the right guy out there and maximizing everybody to their strengths, utilizing guys in ways that we didn't even really think of, right? Or ways that we thought that they could have, but were never used during the Bickerstaff era. It's little things like using Isaac Okoro as a screener and a passer out there. Guys making passes off the short roll is one of my most favorite sequences that I've seen from Isaac Okoro this season. It's things like giving Evan Mobley the added confidence to take that 3-point shot or operate a an inverted pick and roll set. Something you just did not see too often in the previous regime with the previous era. Again, no shot at JB, but just a completely different type of offense. We know the heliocentric nature of JB Bickerstaff-led offenses. You are seeing that with Cade right now. But this team moves the ball so much. You see so many moving parts, so many different actions and side actions and pivots that you can go to if the play calling does not work. If things break down, the Cavaliers can quickly pivot to something else. Something else that I've really enjoyed this season is the chemistry between the bigs and Max Strus, whether it be DHO work or pick and roll sets. There are so many different things that this team has done that has led to wins this season, and I'm all here for it, man. It just feels like the culmination of a lot of hard work, and credit where it's due. Credit where it's due. The season isn't over yet, obviously. You still got 3 games left to play, but after clinching the number 1 seed, I guess the question is, how much left do you have to play for? Are you going to play for the number 1 overall seed in the NBA? If it is open, I don't know. We'll have to see. But I am content where we are right now if we stay where we are right now. As long as it means nobody's hurt. Donovan sat tonight. That was good. Get him some rest. I think some of these other guys could use it as well. Jarrett Allen wants to play all 82. He has the opportunity to do that, but the question is, will Kenny allow him to? We already saw the compromise that came to be, just a few games back where he played just the first half and was sat for the entirety of the second. But he's appeared in every single game this year. We'll have to see if Kenny allows him to do that. Maybe it'll be a nominal start where he plays like 5 to 10 minutes, or maybe even just 1 minute, just to say he logged time in that game to qualify. But we'll see. So those are some of the things that I'm interested in seeing. I'm also interested to see Chuma get some minutes down the stretch here. I'm interested to see Luke Travers and Emoni Bates and Craig Porter Jr. A lot of guys out there. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody, but I want to see the young prospects get some run. I believe that at least one of these guys will be in the running for a rotation spot next season. Obviously, there's a whole contract situation with Jerome. I think he will be back, but it's never a given. Jalen Tyson, thank you. You want to believe that he'll be back, but nothing is set in stone. So in the event that happens, you want to make sure that these guys are ready to go and that they're developed. And maybe it'll be a Jalen Tyson that enters that rotation. Maybe it'll be Luke Travers, who's looked pretty damn good in his first season in the G League. Maybe it'll be Emoni. Who knows? Maybe it'll be Craig. Maybe Greg will step into that role. And maybe one of these guys steps into a role regardless of whether or not Jerome or somebody else is moved in the offseason. But man, the Cavaliers have done a really good job at making sure that they have pieces ready to go. And I could not be happier about the direction that this team is heading in. And I'm glad they clinched the number 1 seed tonight. We'll have to see who that first round opponent is. It is a couple of different options that could be rolled out there. Chicago is definitely one of them. Atlanta is another. Orlando is a possibility. I want to say that the only team that may not be a possibility is the Heat. But I don't know, man. I think the Heat are still in the running to play us in round 1 as well. But time will tell. So those 4 teams, I think it's Atlanta, I think it's Orlando, Miami, and Chicago that could all potentially face Cleveland, depending upon these final 3 games. Nothing is set in stone right now. The seeding for the play-in games are not yet determined, but the teams that are in spots 7 through 10 are already locked in. Nobody else in the Eastern Conference can enter that field. Not Toronto, who is at 29-50, not Brooklyn, who's at 25-53, Philadelphia, and so on and so forth. They are all eliminated. Everybody, the top 10 in the Eastern Conference is solidified. It's Cleveland, Boston, New York, Indiana, Milwaukee, Detroit, Orlando, Atlanta, Chicago, and Miami. Those 10 teams in some form or fashion will have made, at the very least, at the bottom tier, the play-in tournament. Now, in the Western Conference, things are not necessarily as certain. The only teams in spots 7 through 8 who have actually clinched a postseason appearance are LA and Golden State. Those two teams are, at the very least, they have locked a postseason spot. In the other teams competing for those spots in the West, shocker, Sacramento, who were fighting for their playoff lives these last 2 games. We've seen Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan go off. We just saw that in Cleveland. We saw it the other night against Detroit. And then the Dallas Mavericks, they're also fighting. They're 38-41 entering tonight. It's the only team that has yet to be eliminated in the West that is still also hunting, pending these final 3 to 4 games, is the Phoenix Suns. So that's it. Most of what is going on in the NBA has already been decided. So we'll have to see what happens. But man, I want to see a Oklahoma City Thunder Cleveland Cavaliers finals. I will settle for a Los Angeles Lakers Cleveland Cavaliers finals. I would love to see either of those 2 matchups. But the question is now, what is Kenny's preference? Rest or the number 1 seed? Because as we continue to check here, LA is fighting. They're in a dogfight right now with OKC, and they are currently up 4 as of checking right now late in the stretch of the 3rd quarter. So we'll have to see, man. And that LA team, LA is after acquiring Luka, their season has basically been turned around. They're, as it stands, in that 4th seed, I think, in the Western Conference. They might be 3rd. I think they're actually 4th right now in the Western Conference, and there's still some movement that could potentially occur there. Another 3rd. They entered tonight in 3rd at 48-30, and there's still some ability to shift there. They are ultimately not going to be able to catch up to Houston. But they could still drop down to as much as 5th or 6th in the West, because T-Wolves at 46-32, and Denver at 47-32, and Memphis at 47-32. There's still some mobility there that could potentially occur, but make no mistake, I believe that they are a team that could potentially get to the NBA Finals if things shake out a certain way of matchups, because we all know the playoffs are a game of matchups. It's all about matchups. One bad matchup could decide your entire fate in the playoffs. So we'll see what ends up going on there, but I'm just waiting to see who the Cavaliers will play in round 1. We'll have to see what happens there, but just a phenomenal performance tonight. Evan Mobley was awesome. Just flat out awesome. I don't think I actually put this graphic on the screen, so I'll do it now. Evan with 21 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. So he's just 3 assists shy of a triple-double tonight. He had a block, 2 steals, was 8 of 18 from the field, including 3 of 6 from three-point range. 50% from distance tonight was Evan Mobley, and he just was so damn dominant tonight. And that's exactly what you have become accustomed to seeing him do in games where he gets those additional touches without a Donovan Mitchell out there, in games where Darius Garland might sit or where Jarrett Allen's not out there. Evan usually steps up if somebody is missing, and I could not be happier about what we saw. With that being said, I think it's a perfect time to head to the chat. Talking and Grubbing Media asks, Mac, who would you want the Cavs to play in the first round? Out of all the potential opponents, because of right now, it could be Atlanta, Orlando, Miami, or Chicago. Of all of those teams, I would probably say it would be Chicago, right? Miami, it's something about Eric Spoelstra, man. They're a wild card. You never really want to bet against Spoelstra making some shit happen in the playing games or the postseason. So don't think they would be my number one option. I wouldn't be scared playing them. I think the Cavaliers win and win handily, but they wouldn't be my first option. Atlanta has given Cleveland fits at times, but it must be acknowledged that in those games that Cleveland lost, DeAndre Hunter was on the other side. So that's a big piece, a big part. He was killing the Cavs, busting the Cavaliers' ass in those matchups. And they still have some tough ones, right? Dyson Daniels. I got some content on my general NBA channel dropping about Dyson Daniels tomorrow. I remain very fucking impressed with Dyson Daniels. This motherfucker, he's been a thief since he came into the NBA on the defensive side of the ball. And he can't forget the fact that Jalen Johnson is out for the year, a guy who probably would have been named to the All-Star team had he not gone down. So that sucks for them. But my point overall being that they're not the same team that Cleveland faced earlier on in the season than when they lost back-to-back games against them. That was a brutal one. So I wouldn't mind playing Atlanta. I'm not scared of Miami, but they wouldn't be my first preference. And then Orlando was probably the team that, from a objectivity standpoint, I'd be like, bring them on. After all the bad blood that we've seen between the two, and after that playoff series last year that went 7 games, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing these two face off again in round 1, but again, they're not my top option. If we want the easiest path, and I know that might sound sacrilege to say, but you don't want your guys, your regular rotation pieces, to be worn out in round 1. So get the easy win. Get Bulls. I think Bulls would probably be the easiest victory here. And that is no disrespect to them. I just think from a pure talent standpoint, Cleveland has what it takes to beat them. And again, make no mistake, Cleveland could beat any one of those teams. But I would much prefer to take on Chicago other than any of those other 3 teams. We'll have to see what happens, though. We will have to see what happens. In order for this season to feel like a true success for me, I need to see this Cleveland Cavaliers get to the Eastern Conference Finals and face off against the Boston Celtics. They got to face off against them in that Eastern Conference Finals, and they got to win for it to feel like this season was at the apex. If they lose in the finals, okay. Give me Boston, Cleveland, ECF, Eastern Conference Finals. That's what I want to see. Got to take it a game at a time, though. Nothing is set in stone. Just because the Cavaliers got the number 1 seed does not mean that they will make it that far. They have to put in the work. That is what we are all waiting to see now. You got the number 1 seed in the East. Best record, solidified. Best season that we've seen in terms of regular season in a long time from Cleveland. But now the true work starts. Can it translate to the postseason? I think so. The doubters don't. But we still got some time. One thing that's really been annoying me lately is the Defensive Player of the Year award talks. It feels like Draymond Green has really just talked his way into it. And I hate to say it, but it may be fighting an uphill battle here. Evan Mobley has been phenomenal all season long, but he's just not as loud and boisterous and as vocal as Draymond Green. And I feel like that's hurting him. And that's not his fault, right? I've always felt like your play should do most of the talking for you, but there are those out there that are really good and smooth talkers and can play very, very well on that end. And Draymond Green is unfortunately one of those guys. It hurts my heart to see that, but that's where we are. Erlindu XX says, we got it. Yes, we did. Bow down before you serve. Says number 1 seed locked up. Yes, indeed. Jeremy Johnson says, my boy Ty Jerome is a certified baller. Hell yeah, he is. Le Smooch says, DG finally getting his swagger back. Yep, dropped 28 points, drilled 6 triples tonight. Jeremy also says, yes, DG makes this team so dangerous. Indeed, he does. Cypher Podcast Show says, got that part out of the way. Rest some guys, now focus on the playoffs. I'm fine with that. Talking and Grubbing Media says, what's up, Mac? It was good for the Cavs to wrap up the number 1 seed for Mitchell, who has been a writer all season. They should rest him for the rest of the season. He's got all NBA wrapped up. I would not be opposed to that. I think you're probably going to see a number of these guys be rested. Jordan React says, would you want to see the Cavs rest Donovan until the playoffs? I do for it. I do for it. But what do you think? Because Knicks aren't sending no message if they beat us without Donovan, and the Pacers need it more often, more than honestly. I'm okay if they rest. There's literally nothing else for Cleveland to play for. You risk potential injury. Now, if LA does follow through here and beat OKC, the only other thing left to play for is the number 1 seed overall, but I just don't know if that's enough to warrant your starters to keep playing because it's I can guarantee you right now, if that number 1 seed overall is up for grabs and Cleveland decides they're going to go for it over these last 3 games, I can see it right now. If somebody gets injured, people are going to turn so quick on Kenny for electing to put these guys in that position to begin with. This is literally a lose-lose situation. Or it's not lose-lose. There's potential for reward, but it's very, very high risk for a reward that may not ultimately be set in stone because you could get that number 1 overall seed and still not make it to the finals. And then at that point, you did it for nothing. And you potentially put your guys at risk. So I will be okay. There's not a lot left to play for. Rock Cunningham says defensive player of the year if Mobley gets it. What's financial impact is there for him in the Cavs salary cap? So here's the thing. If Evan Mobley is named to the first or second team all NBA or wins defensive player of the year, he will potentially get that $69 million. If he does not get named to the first, second, or be named the defensive player of the year, but makes, I think, third team all NBA, he is still eligible for a contract of 200. And don't quote me on the exact number on this, but I think it's 239 million that he could potentially get for getting to that. And I had a tweet bookmarked from Bobby Marks in regards. Here it is. If he makes first, second team all NBA or defensive player of the year, he could potentially get that 269 million. If he makes third team all NBA, he gets 247 million. That's what it is. So that's the potential ramifications. I think it's pretty much locked in at this point that he gets at the very least second team all NBA. I think that is what will happen. So he's going to get the $269 million either way. That's the way I see it. So why not give him the fucking defensive player of the year award while we're at it? Talking to Grubman says, why or would you play the Stars the last 3 games or go for the number 1 overall record? I think I already answered that. I think I would. I don't want to put the guys in that position at the end of the day. They're too important. Don't go for it if you don't have to. If it's like right there, I guess. But man, I don't. With one game up if OKC is 1 game up if LA wins tonight on Cleveland. Just 1 game up. And with 3 games left to play, you have an opportunity to do that, but it's a lot of risk. It's a lot of risk. Talking to Grubman also says, do you think Kenny wins the coach of the year over JB? I do. But I'm not going to be so naive as to think that the NBA's voters won't, give JB the award because of what he has done in Detroit, which is nothing short of phenomenal. He has been spectacular there. He has really, really take them and improve them quicker than a lot of people thought that he would. And again, I believe that he has had the 5th or 6th biggest win improvement in NBA history. Like not just this season, but NBA history. He's improved them by 29 or 30 games or some shit like that. You just don't see that happen. And JB is at the forefront of that alongside Cade and some of the other vets that were brought in, like Malik Beasley and Tobias Harris, and some of the young prospects that they have there, and Jalen Duren, and the awesome defender that they have, and Asar Thompson. It's not all JB, but JB is the guy that has to kind of make it coalesce and bring it all together. So credit where it's due. Credit where it's due. I don't know, man. I think that's probably a good place to leave it off at tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's victory. I certainly did. I'm going to be keeping my eye on some of these other games down the stretch here. As I always tell you guys, if you'd like to reach out to me, now you can. It's Cavalier_pod on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and more. If you want to be added to this Cavalier Discord chat, you know what to do. Leave a rating, leave a review, sending a screenshot of that review to itscavalier53@gmail.com, and I will send you said invite. If you want to support your boy in a small but helpful way, consider becoming a member over on Patreon. You can do so for as little as $1 a month. And you folks watching over on X, do your boy a favor, man. Head over to YouTube, hit that like button. You never know how much it helps a brother out. And if you're not yet a subscriber to this Cavalier podcast, subscribe so you never miss out on AB. We got 3 games left, guys. 3 games left. We got Indiana coming up twice. And I think I'm just at this point right now where I am so fucking ready to start the playoffs that I honestly care what happens over these next 3 games, but I'm at a point right now where to me, I don't care if they win or lose these next couple of games. I'm just ready for the playoffs to start. Like, obviously, you want to see them win, but if they lose, it's not the end of the world. They got Indiana, and they got one with the Knicks that are sandwiched in between those games. We'll see. But it's been fun. It's been real. Go Cavs.